What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Krista B, one half of those wrestling girls, and I am with the newest addition to the TWG family, Pablo The Don. And today we are here because Pablo and I came up with this idea to inform me and those just like me about the all women's wrestling promotion. And I'm just so excited that they said yes because I need to know about WoW. And I feel like those who don't know will definitely learn some new things from this promotion. So Pablo, I want to say thank you for indulging on this um new adventure with me because I personally don't know anything about WoW. Only that AJ Lee was like named the big boss behind it in a sense. But yeah, so thank you. This content is exclusively going to be on our Patreon account. So you guys have to make sure you have subscribed to our Patreon to listen to it. But thank you, because I know you're a big WoW fan, and I was like, I had to reach out to you to see if you was willing to do this with me.
No, I'm a massive WoW fan. WoW is probably one of my favorite promotions. I mean, I really think I caught on to it during the pandemic, and I actually saw someone else's video on YouTube that was talking about how great it was, and I was like, all right, let me check it out. And then I found out it was on like local listings, like you can catch it most times on the CW. And if it's not there, then they upload the full episodes of each episode to YouTube for free. So like you can WoW is super accessible, and even now they're running shots on Vice at night, like late at
Yeah.
night. They're running shots on Vice. So WoW's super accessible for people. And you can go pretty far back and watch like a pretty big chunk of WoW wrestling just through the YouTube and through Vice. So yeah, like I said, one of my favorite promotions, all women. They don't call them superstars or divas. They're called superheroes, which I thought was kind of
That
cool.
is so dope.
Um, and it's just a really good promotion, and I will say, like, if you like watching people develop, you'll like WoW, because it's not, they do have big names come in like an ODB or like AJ Lee or someone bigger that like has tenure in wrestling, but it's a lot of younger coming up women in wrestling, which I think is dope. Diversify the field, give us some new names, new faces to get used to. And it's just a good it's a good promotion to me. It's a great promotion.
Well, I love that. I came across WoW, like you said, it was on Vice. I actually fell asleep during Magnum TA's Dark Side of the Ring. And when I woke up to turn the TV off, I saw these amazing twins, the Tonga twins,
Yeah.
and they were they were wrestling Sweet Heat, or is Sweet Heat?
Yeah, Sweet Heat.
Okay.
Miami Sweet Heat.
Yes, for the tag team championships. And I'm just like, who are these women? And oh my gosh, I have access to WoW. And I really just can't be more happy about it. But then I also forget that it comes on a Tuesday. And I just be drained. And I know Tuesday's only the second day of the work week, but I just be drained and I be trying to stay up to watch. Um, but from what I've seen, I like it. I'm very intrigued to learning more about WoW and everything that's been going on there. So this new series is called Schooling, and it's all because Pablo will be schooling me on WoW, the inception of WoW, its wrestlers, and also throwing some gems that myself and maybe a lot of you have not did not know. And then I will also be coming back with some homework. So being that we already planned this, I did my homework for the week,
Period.
which is we're gonna talk about the one and only G.I. Jane.
Yes.
So
Wait, I want to know.
how did you get into G.I. Jane? But wait, what do you want to know?
I do want to know what your first impressions were, just based off the one clip I sent you.
First of all, how about not even a clip? Can we just get into this picture real quick? Can we just get into this picture because oh my gosh,
No,
she's
legit.
gorgeous,
Yes.
gorgeous. Like I really thought that she was like a model.
No, legit. I was like, where is she from? Like, what is this? Is some ethereal type energy right now.
So
And
who
like, I love
created
it.
you?
No, like, who created you? No, G.I. Jane, that was like the first person I saw when I first caught it on the CW, like in 2022, 2022, I want to say, like when I caught it on CW in 2022. I just saw this dark skinned, bald, like beautiful black woman. I was like, who is this? And they were like G.I. Jane. And I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Like, is this like a Sergeant Slaughter dupe? And then I realized, like, nah, she's adding her own character to it. She's like a sheer powerhouse. I don't know how tall that woman is. She's to me, the way they present her, she looks like she's over 6 foot.
Yeah, she
And
does.
then I was like, okay, let me check out a little match, whatever. Dude, like just an absolute powerhouse. And like right now, she's like mainly tag teaming with another person called the
The
Disciplinarian, which
disciplinarian. Yep.
goes really, really well with the whole like drill sergeant disciplinarian. Like she carries around a paddle, and like her manager is a school teacher, the disciplinarian. So they like work well together, but they're faces. They're not even heels. They're faces. So it's like, how have y'all managed to spin this? And like I said, she's a really good like powerhouse, like just gorilla pressing, power slamming. It reminds me a lot of like Braun Strowman type
Mm-hmm.
energy, but like
Mm-hmm.
she's making it her own. She's like yelling at them like she's an actual drill sergeant. Like she's just like I just love her. I don't know what it is. And they don't really like they cut promos, but not too often. So like I checked out her little 20-second info clip thing that they have on her YouTube, and it makes me giggle because like she just yells the whole time as if she were a drill sergeant. It's the funniest shit.
Oh
And like
wow.
I just liked her like aura and personality, and I liked her look more than anything. I was like, this is unique. We haven't really gotten this in wrestling. I don't even know, aside from like Serena Deeb and Molly Holly, have we even gotten any bald women who wrestle seriously and it's not like a part of a storyline to lose their hair? They're just
Yeah.
there.
No.
So I'm like, this is the first of that even, and I'm like, this is so dope. Like I just love it, and she was just I just instantly was drawn to her. Like, and I thought her matches were good. Like I thought what I saw from her was really, really good, and I think she's gonna end up becoming like a breakout single star.
I think so too. Like from the clip that you sent me, her match against the mother truckers. Um.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are they really mother and daughter?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, they really are. The mother
Okay.
truckers are
I'm like,
really mother and daughter.
Betty looking type. Is this a gimmick? Is it, like I didn't know. But um their match against the mother truckers, like you said, she's a powerhouse. She just came out, she comes out, she means business, she's no nonsense. And I promise you I did not want to go down a G.I. Jane wormhole because we would have been sitting here all day. We would have been rescheduling this because I'd have been like, nope, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to talk about it yet because I'm just stuck on this. But um she is amazing. Like from what I said, although she did lose that match.
Yes, they did. The
They
mother
did.
truckers are good wrestlers. They're heels, but they're good.
And
But
everybody loved them from the clip. Like everybody was like team mother truckers and not team disciplinarian and GI Jane.
yeah, it's like the crowd in that in that sorry.
Mm-hmm.
In that match go back and forth because like they don't like Betty, but they like I can't think of her name right now, but they like her partner. But like they also don't like G.I. Jane and the disciplinarian. So there was like moments where they were faces, moments where they were heels. But I think they're trying to position them in general as faces, even though like or I see a split coming because I think G.I. Jane's getting more over as a face, and the disciplinarian mainly because of her manager, who is like
Mm-hmm.
this school teacher-esque type woman, is such a heel, and she gets involved in all the matches and stuff. So I think they're trying to work on a split of some sort, but like the matches was it was good. Like it was good. I thought it was worked really well. Like the whole you can tell they were working heel in that because they were bumping and feeding the entire time. They really dominated the first half, and then the mother truckers come out of nowhere and just start beating them up. So it's
Yeah.
like they're GI Jane is just like I said, it's like a spectacle when I see her. Like it's just like, who is this? You're interesting. I want to know more. Tell me more. Give me more about her. I want a promo. Give me something.
It's like you can't look away once you see her.
Yeah,
You can't look away. I
she
was just
is the
like,
main attraction. She is the main
right.
character.
I was just like, yo, this woman, one, she's beautiful. Two, she's literally like she's so statuesque. Like you said, clean shaved head, like bald head, beautiful, not using anything to define her, and she can wrestle. Like she's literally the epitome of what we want to see in wrestlers. And then it
For
brings
real.
me back to, her and Bianca Belair, or her and the Charlotte Flair, because like you can see, like, for me, I can see her going to the top and
Mhm.
wrestling those top superstars, even her and Jade Cargill. Like, these are dream matches, and for a while to not get the proper recognition, or because of like the time slot it comes on, or people may not have access to it, now you guys know you can go on YouTube and see
Yep.
their matches. But that's amazing. So let's go back a little bit. Do
Mhm.
you know, like, when WoW was established, who the
S-
owner is, how did it come together?
Yeah.
Like, school me all on that part.
So WoW has actually been around since 2001,
Okay.
and as WoW, but David McLean, who started and owned Glow, owns WoW, or he
Wow.
did. And Glow is what turned into WoW. So it's literally Glow, but they just rebranded it to WoW. And then they sold it off a few years ago to the owner of the Lakers, Jeannie Buss, who's been wanting to get into wrestling. Yes, Jeannie Buss is the owner of WoW now. And her and David kind of have this partnership, but Jeannie owns the majority of it. And yeah, it's Jeannie Buss, the daughter of the owner of the primetime Lakers, who now just owns the Lakers herself because he passed away, is who is running WoW these days and has made it a point. I think she's probably one of the best business owners in wrestling right now, because I think what you see a lot of owners who are in wrestling is they try to interject themselves, even if they don't necessarily know too much. And I'm definitely talking about like Billy Corgan from NWA. And even in his days, Jeff Jarrett at Global Force and TNA, Vince McMahon, even Tony. Like, Jeannie is like, I own this. I want to like promote this. I want to be a part of this, but I am fine with admitting I know nothing really about this. And I want people around me who know more and live this life than I do. I just know business. Y'all know wrestling. And I love that aspect because it gives no ego. It gives, let the professionals do the professional work. And I think that's why WoW works. Like, you have her making the smart business decisions, but you have people like an AJ Lee, ODB. I think Mickey James has been part of it in some iteration, not wrestling, but backstage, being like, okay, here's the wrestling portion. You do the business, we do the wrestling. Let me show you how to promote this. And I think that's what's made it so cool. So WoW really had its initial run from like 2000 to 2001 on like broadcasted television, like syndicated TV. And they did one pay-per-view. And then David McLean, tried to get Gene Simmons from Kiss to go into partnership with him back in 2002. And that kind of fell apart.
I think I'm kind of
Um,
okay with that.
yeah, they wanted to revive it, but that kind of fell apart. And then in 2011, they started airing syndicated episodes on like an ABC affiliate back out in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2012, that's when Jeannie Buss comes in. And then that's when they started airing on the CW. And then that's when in 2014, they started doing more digital content. So that's when they started doing stuff for YouTube. So if you go to the WoW page, you'll see stuff from like 2014, 2015 for YouTube. Like, you can go see a lot of the people who have come through there. And then I believe it was in, let me double check. I think it was like in 2021, AJ joined as a executive producer and color commentator.
Yeah.
Um, and now they're on Pluto TV, and they're on the CW app, and like, they're airing episodes via Paramount too. So like, you can really get,
Wait, WoW's on Paramount Plus.
yes, you can get
I
episodes
got
of WoW on
that app.
Paramount Plus too.
That's it. I got the
Um,
app. That's it. I
yes.
could be watching.
Yeah, it's like they're really expanding, and then um, it's the highest rated show outside of the big four, which is WWE, AEW, Impact, and New Japan. So it gets more ratings than NWA, more ratings than GCW, more than PWG. Anything that has like an online presence, it's number one outside of the big four, if you will. Which I think is crazy, considering, not crazy, but like dope, considering it's all women, and
Yes.
like all women.
I was going to ask, like, what do you think needs to happen for WoW to be a part of the big four, or have it changed to be the big five? Because if women are already drawing these numbers on
Yeah.
their own, technically standing independently, what do you think needs to happen? Like, how do you think the conversation needs to come up for WoW to be considered and the levels of WWE, AEW, ROH, New Japan Pro.
I think they have to one figure out a more robust developmental system, because right now it's kind of like everyone on the card, like I said, you have bigger names like an ODB, AJ come in, do shots, whatever. But so many of them are new and green and they still get these opportunities online. I think like there has to be some sort of split between, okay, these are people that are developing versus these are like our players right here, right? And I think with that, you take the people who are like players and you start trying to contract a Britt Baker. You start trying to contract these people that are big in the indies or big in AEW, big in New Japan to come in. You get you a Mercedes, you get you a Trinity, you get those people to come in and do shots there as well. And then you send your people over to those promotions to kind of introduce it. I think the way that AEW and New Japan have formed a partnership, I would love to see AEW form with WoW. Because I think both of their rosters benefit from that. WoW would benefit from the star power coming from a AEW, like a Brit, Jamie Hayter, Jade, things like that, and then AEW would benefit from having new faces with their own storylines going on that they can interject and have this working relationship with. And even then, you take someone like a Sky Blue or Kiera Hogan or something like that. You can send them down to WoW and really work, and they get screen time. That's
Yeah.
what a lot of the women's division suffers from. You don't I think it's one of those things where people is like, oh, she's green, she doesn't know how to work a hard cam, blah blah blah. That's a thing across all of AEW right now, is where like these people aren't getting enough airtime, and it's like, okay, well, you have a promotion like WoW that's producing weekly content for YouTube. It is airtime. There's a hard cam. You can send some of your performers that you would like to build up in AEW to WoW to get just more used to working, right? And then bring them back, and then you bring up some WoW people with you. Like it's like you take these people that are already good at working a camp, bring them to AEW, and take the people in AEW who need some more practice, need some more time working, and you send them to WoW so they get those reps in. I think it's all about reps. So I think like that could be beneficial. I think having some of them go to Japan and work a spot would be better. Japan's got probably the most robust women's division there is. So having some of them be able to go over there and work with a Kyrie or work with a God, I can't think of Aja Kong, work with those people. Like it's reps in front
Yeah.
of people, and WoW films in front of a live studio audience. So it's all about reps, and I think
Where are
it's
they
just
located?
beneficial. That is the question I have not been able to figure out, actually, where they shoot their shows from. It looks like they used to do it out in California, and it looks like they probably still do, which would make sense considering Jeannie Buss owns the team. So somewhere out in Inglewood seems to be where they're at. And I think that's a good landscape for them to be in because LA's so big. You can get
Mm-hmm.
random people to come to those shows. And I think that's what kind of keeps the door turning there is like you've got kind of like you're in a big city, you're bankrolled by $1 billion person. So it has the same potential as an AEW. You've got the money backing, you've got the setup and design, you've got the career wrestlers there that you need to help push this thing forward, and you've got women who want to work, and I think that's why it is the number one thing outside of the big four right now.
Yeah. Um, I do like the points that you've made about them branching out and bringing their girls over to other promotions, and because you build that audience with them. You build, like, if somebody doesn't know anything about GI Jane or the Disciplinarian or the Tonga Twins or Sweet Heat, Miami Sweet Heat or whomever, they just know, oh yeah, AJ Lee's there, but how do we access it? How do we, or get
Yeah,
to a point to where I want to sit here and watch it now. I know there are a lot of WoW fans out there,
for sure.
but also um, there aren't enough conversations about it.
No, not at all. I think it's a thing that's indicative of just women's wrestling in general. There just isn't enough conversation around it. Like I think we hit a point when Becky Lynch came up. Like Becky Lynch was the face of WWE at one point, like
Mm-hmm.
the face. in an era where Roman couldn't get it done and there was no one else that really could aside from maybe Seth, but Seth was going down with injury, things like that. And they had to keep relying on Brock and Goldberg to kind of like do something. Becky stepped up. And I think that was the opportunity to really put the like pedal to the metal on women's wrestling. And I don't think it's like bygone or missed by any chance, any shot. But I do think that it has to be a conscious, concerted effort. And the only person that I see making that right now in any of the landscapes aside from New Japan with Mercedes coming in is Shawn Michaels in NXT and
Mm-hmm.
what he does with the women's division down there because they've consistently had the best women's storylines, period, in the
True.
industry.
True.
Period. Whether that's with like Gigi Dolan, when they had Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction, like that was good stuff.
It
And
was.
I think like if there was some way where WoW could connect with WWE or AEW and figure this whole thing out, women's wrestling would be a little bit more further than where it is, and it really could and can capitalize off the back of what Becky did.
I agree. And it just sucks that it's still like a work in progress, that we still have to progress to get to
Yeah, it
where
still feels like an afterthought
it's
instead
definitely
of a
an afterthought, especially after the women's evolution and everything that happened in WWE
yeah.
and everything that happened in other sports for women. Like that happened and it was like a quick hot take. And then once it cooled down, it was just like, okay, we're only
Yeah.
trying to get a dusting and a sprinkling.
And it's so odd because I feel like the demand was there. Like when people found out they weren't bringing back Evolution, people were like, "Why? Why
Yeah,
not? Like this is good. Where is I don't know if they're still running it, but like where's the Mae Young Classic at? Like what are what's going on? Like we had this momentum and then it kind of just like got deprioritized during the pandemic, which made no sense to me because like women like a lot of people herald Asuka as the pandemic princess. Like she
hmm,
carried WWE's women division throughout the pandemic. So I'm just like, where is the zest and the love from the fans are still there? Why is the corporate not doing the same? And I think the same can be said in AEW. Like Britt had such a moment. She was so big and so over. Anywhere you go, people are still saying DMD. Where are we going with this? Like
right. Like,
that lights out unsanctioned match with Thunder Rosa was so great. Where like cool, and it just feels like we took a back seat. And even though we got like amazing matches, amazing superstars come out of retirement, like Soraya, just like all right, like you got to keep building. And like Soraya isn't going to be an everyday player, so you can't build a division around someone who literally cannot fight week in and week out. So like,
right,
what are we going to do? And like it's one of those things where it's like they're trying, and I think the best chance like AEW has right now is with Chris Statlander beating Jade. Chris Statlander is the horse you got to ride home, but are they going to book her right and can she stay healthy because she's been injured pretty frequently in her run? So it's like it's there. All the foundations, all the things we need for a successful women's takeover is there, but are we investing enough time and energy on a corporate end to give the fans the top tier type of storylines that like the Bloodline gets or that like the Elite are getting right now in
right.
Blackpool Combat Club? Are we investing? And the answer is just no. And I sometimes I wonder if it's because of the way creative works in those companies. One being all things go through Triple H / Vince from his computer at home, and the other one, all things go through Tony Khan, who like don't get me wrong, AEW has been great, but at the end of the day, it's just a mark booking the show, not like a
Yeah, Tony
yeah.
Khan doesn't, I feel like he doesn't know what he's doing. And
No.
this is not to say like because of how I feel about AEW. It's just from a fan's perspective, when you promote that, this is why I was really happy that AEW was coming out back in 2019 when they promoted how well they were diversifying the women's division, how they were going to do all these things with the women, how they
Yeah.
were going to take the women to a whole nother level. And then AEW comes about and
It
we
falls
we get
flat.
Jade
Yeah.
as this champion for however many months or years now, and everything else kind of falls flat. Like I feel like
Yeah.
after that Britt Baker Thunder Rosa match, which was amazing, where Britt had that famous now viral picture of the blood coming out.
Blood. Yeah.
Like, it just really kind of fell flat because you had Britt on one side and Jade on the next side, and it was just like, who's gonna sit here? It was great to see Nyla Rose um in the very beginning. Now it's just
Yeah,
like, okay, where is she? Where happened to Sunny Kiss? We had Sunny Kiss, and everybody was like, "Yo,
legit.
this where's
She
now
was
where's
crazy.
now where's Sunny Kiss?"
Yeah.
Um, we had cameos. We had Ariane come and do her little cameo thing.
Yeah, it was good
It's
at first.
where did she go? Then she came back to Rumble, and it's like, okay, so what's happening here? It's like they don't keep the consistency. And what I like
Mhm.
about WoW, like you as you was explaining to me previously, is like they keep that consistency for the women. Like they literally keep it moving and going and are working their hardest to continue to expand the talent of their women.
Absolutely. I mean, like the Tonga twins are like, I think an example of that. Like, yo, that to me, they're like, this is the Usos, but like women. And like,
Yeah,
it's what I think people thought we were going to get with like a Nia Jax and Tamina teaming up in WWE. Like, the
yeah.
Tonga twins are actually that. And it's so dope to see, like, just a different representation. Like I said, you've got so many different people who I'm sure we'll discuss a lot more about them. Miami Sweet Heat, who are cool, the Mother Truckers, who are like ODB, basically like trailer park type energy. You've got people like GI Jane, and you got people like the Beast, who we'll talk about, and like all these different, just different types of women showing up that I think is super dope. You even got someone out there that's basically doing a Max Caster dupe, BK Rhythm. She's a
Mhm.
woman and she's like a rapper, and she raps during all her shots. So it's like you've got this diverse group of women who can all go for sure, and like deserve more shine. And it's just like the bigger companies, I don't know if they want to ignore it, or they just don't want to give it the proper credit, or they're just not stretched too thin to give it what it deserves. But I feel like the demand for women's wrestling is there, so why not, in that sense at least, attempt to service the fans? And I think the storylines they are attempting to serve are just boring. They're hey, at least I'm happy we got a Becky and Trish feud that doesn't include a title. That's cool.
That's
And
true, but my thing is that where's Lita? Like I keep
yeah, like what just had she just got hurt that one time and she's never coming
and she's
back? Like,
gone.
is it
Like I'm so
it's
confused.
it
Like
what
we're
that
here
gives
because of
is
you.
no, legit. What that gives is that like Lita, I think in that sense, Lita might come back to do like Zoe Stark and Trish versus Lita and Becky, like one old school, one new school type beat. That's what that gives. But I seen a lot of the criticisms of Lita and why people were like happy she was gone or whatever. They just felt like she wasn't in ring shape or whatever. I'm like, dude, like, can we remember the style of wrestling she did? The girls popping off moonsaults every night. Like, we're not getting that every night anymore. We
This is
can't.
I mean, I can
She's
agree to the fact of her not being in ring shape, but
she
I also
wasn't.
agree to the fact of her style of wrestling is completely different from what it is today. Like these women
Yeah,
now are more athletic. They're doing a lot more things that Lita and Trish couldn't do
couldn't do.
back then or was not allowed to do
Allowed to.
before.
Yeah.
So even I said it like at WrestleMania, and I'm just like, okay, Lita's good and everybody like she's a legend in her own right. But and this is for Trish too. For me, yeah, they were the first women to main event on Monday Night Raw, or SmackDown, whatever one it was. But at the same time, it's just like one, I wasn't really watching it
Yeah.
around the time, like towards the end of their retirement or whatever. But two, when I was watching it, it was cool in the beginning, but then I'm just like, what is it exactly that makes him stand out to be called these legendary wrestlers?
I think for them, it was just the time period in which they were in. And like, to be fair, I think they, like you said, they were only allowed to do certain things. They couldn't do too much. Like, not, no, there's not going to be no lights out unsanctioned match. Like, I
Right.
remember when like Lita broke Trisha's nose or whatever and she was bleeding, and people thought that was like, in 2004. And now we get like a Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa going through thumbtacks. Like, it's just different. And I feel like the way that they came up learning wrestling is different versus a Becky and a Sasha. Like, they weren't training like how men were training. It was very much, this is how WWE does women's wrestling, versus
Hmm.
now it's just like, here's just how you wrestle. Um, and like, I definitely think that while I think Trish is someone, because of her fitness background, is someone who, if she wanted to, she could catch up with the times if she felt like it. If she thought that would necessitate a better match. But I thought her and Becky's match at what was that? The last. pay per view. Not Night of Champions. Yeah, Night of Champions.
mhm.
Night of Champions was good. Like I
No,
thought
it
the
was good.
story was good, and I was like, wow, Trish looks great. Like they had one botch, which fine, but like I thought she looked great. I thought they looked good. I love the Zoe Stark intro and all that stuff. So it's just like I think at some point it is nostalgia is something that's always going to be part of wrestling, but I don't think it should be relied on as heavily as it is. Like I don't think even though I've loved the storyline, I don't think it necessitated Trish coming out of retirement or Lita either. Like I don't. I
Yeah,
think we could have told this with somebody that's just a wrestler now.
that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, it's like who will we have gotten for it to make somewhat some type of sense for
I
Becky? Because Becky technically has nobody. Her and Charlotte
Yeah,
are not cool in real life.
yeah.
Uh, Bailey's off with Dakota and EO.
I think it's
Mercedes
that
is
sort of
out.
thing.
Yeah, so it was just like who to pair with. So for them
Yeah,
to pair with Lita and come back around and be like, well, last year these women had this feud, but it's because of Lita, Becky became a wrestler. We know that backstory. So
exactly.
it was cool, but I just felt like somewhere down the line, the storyline felt flat, and it's like
Flat.
Becky is kind of carrying it all on her own now. Like
Yeah.
Trish is doing amazing heel work, and
For sure. I think even in that right, like the way I'm watching Trish cut promos now, it still feels like very 2004. I
yeah,
love her, but it feels like very just like, all right, you got to do better. It's good. It's good. Like you're getting the heat, but it's like very 2004 insult the crowd and that works for you and like whatever. And I think this is like a bit of a blood feud now where they could do some sort of I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Like, where are the blood feuds at? Where are the feuds that like are just about pride and respect and things like that? Like, you don't need a title. And I think they're trying to bring that back. And I do like that Trish is now like, let me team up with Zoe Stark. She's great. I think Zoe Stark has like the best finishing move in wrestling right now.
yeah,
That
that's
Z3
the same
360
thing.
shit. I'm
Yo,
like,
Becky went over so smooth. I was like,
it's like effortless the way that
"Jeez."
she's flipping these girls backwards and then hitting them. It's like a modified GTS. And it's
Yes,
just
it is
like,
a modified GTS, and I'm like, first of all, I blinked so fast. I'm like, nah, like I got to see it again because
right.
what? That's
What
like
is this?
that's literally one of my favorite finishers from any woman.
It's so
Like,
good, and I like the way that they aligned her with Trish at Night of Champions and brought her out from like that was good work, and like the
mhm.
fact that they're both in Money in the Bank, and now Trish is fighting to get in Money in the Bank. Of like, oh, there's a storyline within a story. Like here we go. Like
We
this is
love
what
a
we
story
want.
within the story. We love
This
a
is the
story
story
within the
we should have
story.
just told from the beginning. Yeah, Lita could have been part of it, but like the way that Lita just got written out and just like, yeah, she's done is like weird to me.
It's
Like
so
I'm like,
weird.
are we bringing her back around? And that's why I'm like, give the ball to Shawn Michaels, let him book women's division across everything. And like, even though he's doing great work with the men in NXT too, because I think what he's done with Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes is like amazing. But like, and Grayson Waller for that too. He's good. But like, let him book the women because he
Yeah,
gets it. He gets it. He knows what to do with them.
I
Um,
agree. I definitely agree. So when we talk about the women's storylines and women's division and things moving onward and upward somewhat for some of these women, what is your favorite storyline in WoW right now and why?
oof. I really they do focus a lot on tags, and I do like because like I feel like every other company has deprioritized women's tag and just tag in
Mhm.
general for the most part. So I do like the stories that kind of go around in the tag division, whether it's it's like everyone hates each other, but like they're doing it systematically where it's still like heels versus faces. So it's like you got Miami Heat Sweet and you've got Sweet Heat and you've got like the disciplinary and GI Jane, but you've got like the mother truckers and the Tonga twins, and like they all hate each other, but they all like are infighting. It's just a lot of infighting. And I
Mhm.
think like putting emphasis on so many tag matches is my favorite. Um I think their champion right now is Penelope Pink, and I think she's trying to find her next challenger too in the singles division. And I think that if I had any critique of WoW, it's maybe that is that I feel like the storylines themselves could be improved a little more. Like, and that's where I think partnering with a bigger company would help. Is that y'all have the women that can wrestle, y'all have these very formulated tag teams and people. The character work is good, but now we just need better storylines to make it more something more for us to sink our teeth in. And I think that's probably my only critique of WoW is like, let's build a little bit better of a storyline around some
Yeah.
of these women and really zone in on who we want to zone in on. Like, I like Penelope Pink. She comes out, cuts a promo almost every week on her matches, before her matches. And I like that a lot of the women cut promos before their matches so people get reintroduced to them. But what's the bigger goal? What's the bigger story? I feel like that part is missing. Like, what are we all here for? Type of thing. But for the most part, the tag team is where I'm in. As like everyone hates each other, we all know it, but they're just gonna fight to the death to get to those tag team straps, which I believe who has them right now.
I
Miami
think
Sweet
Miami
Heat.
Sweet Heat,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have, and every like it's on like an enemy of my enemy is also
It's
my
my
enemy type, or like my friend, but this time it's like an enemy of my enemy is also my enemy. So everybody hates Miami Sweet Heat. The entire division hates them. And it's just like, who's going to take them down? And I like that too. It's just like, we all hate each other, but we all hate them more.
We hate them more. So we want to team up to take them down. And then we're all going to fight after we take them down.
Exactly. Like, we'll get back to our feud once we get them out the way. And
We
so
love
I like
that.
that. I love, me too. I think that's a really good storyline. Like, to be like, we all hate each other, but we hate them the most.
I like that. I like the fact that you're explaining this to me and breaking this down for me. So being that we started this episode, this is episode 1 of this, you have to give me homework. Who are
Okay.
we going to talk about in the next? I know you sent me to, so
I
I
did.
know. Okay, so for the next episode, we will be talking about the Beast, and the Beast looks
Terrifying.
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 She looks
Like,
scary.
terrifying. But I love her so much.
Is she Samoan?
No, I think this is just a black woman.
Oh, okay.
This is just a black
We
woman.
love a black woman. I'm just saying, she just looks, from looking at the tattoos
I think
and
she's just
stuff.
black. I think she's just black, but she might have some ties.
We don't know. We're just here for
No.
her.
Yeah, I don't know, but she is something, boy. She
Yeah.
is something.
So my homework is to look at the clips of the Beast,
Yes.
um, and we'll move on from there. But what are your final thoughts on GI Jane? Like, where do you see where do you want her to go after this?
I think G.I. Jane's got to be like a top heel in the company. Like, I think like she's someone, like, I want to see her cutting drill sergeant promos. I want to see her. She does this one move. I don't know if it's her signature or not. Well, she will like beat someone down and then do a one arm push up on them while they're
Yes,
down.
I saw that. I saw that. Is she doing a push up on her neck?
No, legit. I want a compilation of that on the internet. That's going viral. Like, I just want her to be at the top of the card, be a big bad heel, get that championship, do a nice run. Like, I don't want her to be a transition heel champion. I just want her to have a nice lengthy run with the belt and like dominate the division until we get to a point where we've got such a strong and over baby face to put them over her. Like, I think she really is on the money. Her look is unique. She's unique. I think like the character itself is something we haven't seen since Slaughter, obviously, and so it's like a nice callback, but it's like a remix version because you got this tall bald head black woman doing it, and it's like so cool to see like a black woman in this like authoritarian position of power because you don't really see that in everyday life. Like, it's rare.
You don't. You
So
don't.
to be able to have that, I want her at the top of the card. I do want her in the disciplinarian to have a breakup, but I want her to be the bad guy in the breakup. Like, let the disciplinarian, she still won't get over as babyface. So just let them break up and they have a little mini feud. G.I. Jane absolutely dominates her and her manager, and then she goes on a chase down Penelope Pink for that title. That's what I want.
And there you have it, y'all. So thank you. This is only episode 1. We got so much more to cover, and wow, we have so much more stories. And I'm gonna get into it. I'm loving that the fact that there's an all women's pay-per-view lies, all women's promotion. And maybe we need to bring back an all women's pay-per-view because I was at Evolution and it was like the best thing ever.
Listen.
But yeah, we definitely have more. Next up is the Beast. So y'all also let us know if you guys watch WoW, which women that we should be talking about afterwards, or what storylines or anything pertaining to WoW. If you're a WoW fan, just let us know. Maybe we'll try to get some WoW wrestlers on the show. Who
Amen.
knows? But on that note, it's your girl Krista B with Pablo The Don, and we are out of here. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Yeah.